Who is wrongly portrayed as a hero? Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk. He breaks into the giant's house, steals his treasure, then kills him when the giant tries to get his gold back. Fee fi fo fum. I smell the violation of civil liberties. This little man was never read his giant rights and is therefore free fi to fo home. Jerry from Tom and Jerry. Peter Pan. Dude cut off a guy's hand for shits and giggles and fed it to a ducking crocodile. I read Peter Pan to my 5-year-old, and it's only through the novel that I saw Peter Pan as a tragic figure rather than a hero. It's actually a very deep story despite being for children. Peter Pan was based on the author's relationship with a young boy who died. He imagined him living in a kind of heaven for young boys, never growing up. Glinda the Good Witch. She murdered the Witch of the East, stole her shoes, and gave them to Dorothy. She then tells Dorothy that if she wants to get home, she should go see the wizard. After the wizard is revealed as a fraud, Glinda shows up and is all like, you could have gone home any time you like by clicking your heels together. Thanks for killing 2 of my rivals and revealing the last to be a fraud. Click your heels together and duck right off now. Someone should write a story where Glinda becomes a Tsarina of Oz. She rules with an iron fist. The Wicked books don't go that far, but Glinda is very much a politician. The wonderful musical adaptation Wicked gives Glinda the perfect politician song, popular, popular, it's so important to be popular. It's not about aptitude, it's the way you're viewed, so it's very shrewd to be very, very popular like me. I always love the verses. I remind them on their own behalf to think of celebrated heads of state or especially great communicators. Did they have brains or knowledge? Don't make me laugh. They were popular. Please. It's all about popular. That's definitely play Glinda, but it's not foreign to the Glinda from the book Wicked, and it's definitely correct for the world in general. Though having brains and knowledge doesn't preclude popular, of course. My mother in her own personal narrative. Edit, thank you kind strangers for all the awards. Also sorry to the one comment I misread and didn't see the quotation marks. It hit a nerve I didn't realize was there. After all I've done for you. But I'm your mother. This is not how I raised you. Never once discuss said behavior. Sophie, Amanda Seyfried, in Mamma Mia. What kind of sociopathic prick invites 3 of her mother's ex-lovers to her mother's hotel on the eve of her wedding, without telling her, to try and force a situation where her real father will be revealed? Then she ducking bails on the whole wedding anyway to go traveling around the world. If I was a wedding guest having forked out thousands to get there for a non-wedding, I'd be livid. Edit, did not expect this to blow up. My wife just tells me to stop trying to ruin it, she loves ABBA. Edit 2, reading the comments, yes, her mother is probably even more fucked up from A, keeping Sophie's father's identity from her, and B, keeping the fathers from knowing they might have had a kid. Everyone is horrible. Edit 3, reading more of the comments, yes, a holiday to a Greek island is nice anyway, and yes, Sophie's mum did get married then and there, so I guess there was a wedding. As someone without any context to this movie, I would happily fork out thousands just to have front row seats to this disaster. My wife and I went to see a play that actually kind of had this as a premise. The idea was the audience was attending the wedding, but it was interactive. They actually served us food too. Depending on where you sat, or where you wandered around, you would overhear all sorts of conversations from the cast members. There were multiple competing storylines, and sometimes you could do things to influence it, like picking up enough hints and requesting the right song from the DJ. All in all, the wedding was a disaster. What could go wrong did go wrong. It was chaotic, but entertaining. I think we would have enjoyed it more if we had had more heads up. It felt like we missed out on some stuff because we were focusing on different things. Edit, the play was Tony and Tina's wedding at the Manoa Valley Theater on Oahu. They were in a few twists and changes they made to make it more local, but it was basically that. That sounds like such an amazing time. I wish something like that happened near me. Nowhere near as good as what this guy described, but Google Mystery Dinner Theater, they are all over. You may have one near you. J. Edgar Hoover. Anything but a hero, but FBI headquarters is named after him. A guy I used to work with years ago had previously worked at the FBI in DC and heard all kinds of stories about J. Edgar Hoover. For one, supposedly when you went in his office there was a hug FBI seal on the carpet, but it was sunken down in the floor, so when you were standing in his office, His desk was up above you and you had to look up at him like he was some sort of deity or something. Also, one time 2 guys were called into his office to see him. Hoover mentioned one of the FBI agents who worked under them and said, "Give this guy what he deserves." It was unclear from Hoover's tone of voice whether he meant that they should reward the guy or punish the guy, and they were afraid to ask what he meant. They decided to give the guy a promotion, but station him way the duck out in the middle of nowhere so their asses were covered either way. They decided to give the guy a promotion, but station him way the duck out in the middle of nowhere so their asses were covered either way. I mean, that's the dream. Get promoted and don't do shit. Not for FBI types. Those guys have to really want it to make it that far and tend to want to be involved in high-profile cases. Either that or get drunk and do a backflip at a wedding, then drop your unsecured Glock mid-flip and have it go off and injure a guest. Spider-Man. Hess a menace. Thump's desk bring me pictures of Spider-Man. Carrie Bradshaw is a horrible friend, a manipulative and flaky partner, and a deeply irresponsible person all around. My problem with Carrie was that she always turned it around to be about her. That moment when Miranda throws out her neck and Carrie sends Aiden. Then she brings over the bullshit bagels to cheer up Miranda, but only so she can talk about herself. And Miranda calls her out because she didn't even bring cream cheese. Like it was all superficial. And this being after she cheats on Aiden. It is so funny how Miranda snaps because of the lack of cream cheese, the lack of sincere care. Miranda went from my least favorite to my most favorite by far. Well, Samantha is a close second, as she was always so honest and a ride or die for the girls. Zeus. He raped so many innocent women. Meanwhile, Hades was a really good guy, but in the movie Hercules, Hades was the bad guy and Zeus was the good guy. Grandpa Joe. He sat in bed for years, never lifting a finger to help his starving family despite being perfectly able-bodied except when a day of chocolate and fun is involved. He was even able to dance when Charlie produces the golden ticket. 20 years in bed and he dances ! What the actual duck, Joe? You mean to tell me you could have been wiping your own ass this entire time, Joe? Jamie Foxx in the movie Law Abiding Citizen. Gerard Butler's character absolutely should have won. It doesn't excuse what he did, but who could blame him after the system failed him and his family so spectacularly? There is a theory that Butler's character gets the last laugh. Early on in the movie, Fox meets with an ex-special ops guy who gives him info on Butler. He mentions that Butler once invented a tie with a Kevlar rope inside and a ratcheting motor that would tighten the rope and make the tie strangle the target. And what's the very last shot of the movie? Fox is watching his daughter's recital, as the camera zooms in on him, and his extremely conspicuous tie. Almost as if the director wanted to draw attention to it for some reason. I personally believe this theory. If it's not true, that would make both the story about the tie told by the special ops guy, and how extremely eye-catching they make Fox's tie in the final scene, both unfired Chekhov's guns. This is a fascinating theory. I've watched the movie at least 20 times now. I replay Netflix movies to sleep, and never put 2 and 2 together. We will never know, but that being a possibility definitely improves my thoughts on the film even more. As someone who used to rewatch DVDs to go to sleep, it's because you never make it to the end of the movie. Peter Pan, dude was an asshole. Goldilocks, she broke into a house, ate their food and broke shit. Isn't Goldilocks the antagonist in that story? Pretty sure the whole story was about teaching children to respect private property. People who post in Remedim smile about their own good deeds, which are actually just basic acts of human decency. Saw one recently, found this blank check. I really needed the money, but I found the owner and gave it back. Great, congrats dude, you didn't steal, which is something people are capable of avoiding every day. Gabriella from High School Musical.